give me a second. There we go, that's better. Right, we should be good to go very shortly. Just give me a moment, guys. Just getting into the zone very quickly. But yes, guys, good evening and welcome to Thursday Night Racing League. And it is, of course, the one and only Hoppers in the commentary box. How we doing? This is the voice, and of course now the face, because we do have the cam up and running, so you get to see the commentator for Thursday Night Racing League, the PlayStation 4 lobby. This is actually round number 5, believe it or not, Season 7. The PlayStation 4 lobby is, of course, we are at the legendary and of course an absolute sort of a hazy Suzuka at the moment for tonight's final sprint races of Season 7. We do have two 35-minute sprint races as well as two 5-minute qualifications, but at the moment the guys are on through practice. There's about 8 drivers, maybe 10 drivers this evening for the races. It's a bit of a depleted grid for what is the third to last round of the championship. We do head off to Spa-Francorchamps in 2 weeks' time. That is going to be kind of a night and day race. I believe it's trying to emulate the Spa 24 hours. It's not a full-on 24 hours, but we do have, of course, a few, as I say, probably 9, maybe 10 drivers tonight, but hopefully more for Spa-Francorchamps for the penultimate endurance race of the season. And then in a couple of weeks' time, in 4 weeks' time, actually, we head to the home of the British Grand Prix in Silverstone for the final round of Season 7. Season 8 may be a couple of weeks after that, but we're yet to see what's going to go on. In other news for Thursday Night Racing League, just to collaborate, or just to elaborate, myself, Hoppers, has joined the admin team for Thursday Night Racing League for the PlayStation 4 guys, just because it will help the guys out a bit more. JMR, aka James, he's currently second in practice. He is the lone admin for the PlayStation 4, so I've said, well, you know what, as well as being a commentator, why not I join the admin team for the PlayStation 4 lobby. So, you know, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen tonight here at Suzuka. As I say, it's a bit of a depleted grid this evening. It's quite a few drivers missing. There's probably a few new guys. I think we've got the likes of Lemos, JMR, Shoemaker. I think Shoemaker's actually called Seth, so we'll be keeping an eye on him. We've got Steve, we've got Felisti Stariazo. I'm going to try and not butcher people's names from now on. It's, you know, it's obviously been a bit of a hit and miss with pronunciations, but I'm not going to try and do that. And then we've got, of course, Sly Pete. I think Sly Pete is actually the one who hasn't disappeared. Just looking now to see who actually disappeared from the stream. I think it was actually Seth that's disappeared from the grid at the moment, but hopefully he's back for qualifying. There is going to be a trial of something new on the stream as well, going into, of course, the final rounds at Silverstone in around a couple of weeks' time. I'm actually going to go on board with a driver. I'm going to pick one at random. Not too sure who it will be as of yet, but I'll pick a driver at random throughout the formation lap, and hopefully, you know, I'll probably join the regular chat party, pick a driver at random, and talk through a driver during the formation lap at Silverstone to try that. We're going to try that for Season 8 throughout all the rounds of Season 8 for the Thursday Night Racing League. It probably will give you guys a better perspective during the formation lap, so I get to know what strategies they're doing, what the aims for first corner, and etc. throughout the race, because obviously, you know, they do it probably during British Touring Cars, if you watch British Touring Cars in real life. Okay, mate, thank you for that. I'll call him Sergio then, it'll make it easier. Thanks, mate. much appreciated. I'm going to call him Sergio then. It might make it easier. I'll try and get his name dead on, but thank you, mate. Yeah, I forgot about that, you know. But nevertheless, I'll call him Sergio then. So that is the guy in the 63 Lamborghini. I will call him Sergio from now on. Any mispronunciations with people that are in the lobby, I do apologise. You know, it is something I try and get the guys to do in Discord, is to introduce themselves and what name they'd like to be called throughout the stream. But as I say, I'm going to pick a driver at random as of Silverstone for the taster of the formation lap, to give you guys a bit of an insight to a driver's thoughts prior to the race. I think that's something that will be featured more in Season 8. Not too sure what Season 8 calendar is going to be like as of yet. I threw a few suggestions where I'd like to go, but you know, it's not just down to me, it's also down to me and the fellow admins, and may throw some surprise races in. I'd like to go to Alton Park, because Alton Park is a track I know quite well throughout supporting the British touring cars, so you know, I'm going to be doing that. So Sergio is in the 63 Lamborghini. Then we've got Hells aka Dunk in the 22 James Baldwin liveried McLaren 720S, as the sun is about to rise here at Suzuka. It looks like, as I say, it was a bit hazy, but we do have two 35-minute sprint races. They're only 35-minute sprint races. They go in the flash as well as the 5-minute qualifying, but nevertheless, we'll probably be getting racing over and done with tonight. It seems we're going to be way ahead on schedule, probably going to be around 20 to 8 UK time, 29 East Central European time, and 20 to 4 over in America, so Eastern Standard Time, I believe that is what it is in America. But you know, as I say, it's going to be very interesting to see what these guys are going to do. But looking at the likes of DC Joe, then I believe he's now in the McLaren. He's no longer in the Ferrari. Maybe he's just testing that for next season. We don't know whether he's going to be testing it for next season, or whether he's just got the McLaren for the remaining 3 rounds. I've not 100% checked what's been going on over the last week or so, because I've been on holiday, if you can't tell. But nevertheless, as I say, we've got 9, maybe 10 drivers this evening. We've got Future Revenge in the 574 Bentley Continental GT. It is now a blue and red machine, which looks very nice indeed. Then you've got Sly Pete in the 777 purple, sort of a midnight purple McLaren 720S GT3. They're all GT3 cars, and as I say, I look forward to this. Yes, please don't mock my my top 4 this evening. It's not a racing top, unfortunately. I'm sporting my beloved Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt for this evening. It's a bit cooler than putting just a normal t-shirt on, so hopefully it's not too hot in the comments box this evening. But just gonna have a look at the timetable then, just to see who's fastest at the moment. It looks like Lemos, the German racer, with a 201.48. Yeah, 201.488 of a second. You've got JMR with, of course, a 201.587. He's only 0.99 of a second behind. You got Steve, so the Porsches are 1-3 at the moment. Then you got Seth. I don't know whether Seth's going to be coming back for the race, but hopefully he is. Currently 4th in the 27 McLaren 720 GT3, and of course Sergio in the Lamborghini. But let's have a look at, let's see if we can get the timetable up then for you guys. Yes, we do have obviously 5 minutes of qualifying, and then 2 35 minutes races. So it's obviously 3 PM track time, and then of course, well, 2 PM qualifying, and then of course 3 PM race time, which is on the track. It's not actually in real life time. And then of course same for race 2, and race 2 for qualifying, it's another 5 minute qualifying, not 2 minute, I beg your pardon. 5 minutes of qualifying, and then a last 35-minute sprint race. It is the last one, well, the last 2 sprint races of the season. I'd love to have 2 sprint races around Alton Park for next season. preferably one in the wet and one in the dry, but it's not just, like I say, it's not just down to me, it's down to the other admins as well. But you know, as I say, Seth is back, so that's good. So we've got 9 drivers then. It's going to be a bit of a, as I say, a very depleted grid for this evening here at Suzuka. Hopefully we do get the 10th driver in this evening. I believe one of the new guys that raced DZ karting is going to be hopefully making it for race 2. I believe he is trying to make it home, but I think he'll be hopefully back for race number 2. Just going to listen to myself on stream to make sure I'm heard. Yes, which I am. But we'll see what happens. But as I say, hopefully I'll try, if I can, by the end of tonight's second sprint race, I may see how we are for time and see how my voice is. I may do driver interviews, but I'll see how things go. If not, then I'll obviously do them at Spa-Francorchamps in 2 weeks' time. I'm looking forward to going back to Spa. It is a circuit that I really enjoy. I do know some of the corner names here at Suzuka, but not every single one gets pronounced correctly. But as you can tell, the sun is starting to rise here in Suzuka, Mi Prefecture in, of course, Japan. Home of the Japanese Grand Prix, as Slow Pete heads up to 130R. It is a very frightening quick corner here. Obviously, foot flat to the floor. You've got to obviously dab your brakes a bit, go down 1 gear. We'll see who will go on board with JMR during qualifying, because you know JMR is currently leading the championship. I'm not too sure what the point situations are after last time at Kyalami. Kyalami was a bit of a unknown sort of a weird one. Was Kyalami last time out? We had the likes of Stefano Marchetto, multiple TNRL champion, Thursday Night Racing League, enter for the first time this season, which you know, he did enter the first couple of rounds, but then he's obviously decided to go to PlayStation 5. The likes of Yuri, Yuri's not here tonight. Yuri is now going to PC racing, which is a big shame really, because you know Yuri was a fan's favourite in my eyes, but everyone's a fan's favourite here. I don't have any favourite racers. I don't like to pick favourite racers for Thursday Night Racing League. I think it's a bit unfair if I do that and excuse me, I do that, but nevertheless we'll see exactly what is going to happen for the third to last round of Thursday Night Racing League for season 7. Believe it or not, season 7 is nearly over and done with. You may have seen no race coverage from Zolder in Belgium. I was actually busy sorting stuff out at home at the time, and then I missed obviously the first qualifying session for the guys at Kyalami last time out, but I made it back for race 1 and of course the second qualifying as well as race 2. But let's see what's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be a very dry evening and a very dry circuit for these guys at Suzuka, as we got 42 seconds rather left on the clock for free practice, and then we get into the first of 5-minute qualifying sessions. It is going to be over in a flash. It is around about 2:01 of a lap time here, so they're probably going to get maybe 1 or 2 laps in, especially the out lap around here. Mandatory pit stop, I don't think there is any. I think there is one in both the sprint races this evening, but I believe it's only for fuel and or tyres. It is for one or the two, so let's go get the guys probably getting their set up. I think Steve's going to be the first one to blink. Then we've got Dunk. I think Dunk's going to go out next. Just seeing who else will go next. JMR's next, so we'll go on board with JMR then, just to get a rough idea of the conditions here at Suzuka. So we'll go on board with the Ferrari driver then. Current back-to-back champion, is he going to make it 3 from 3 this season? who knows, as he heads through the first two corners into, I believe, into the S-bend. So I'm going to call it the snake bend. I don't know why I'm going to call it snake bend, because it slithers like a snake from left to right. But then we've got, of course, coming up towards Dunlop, instead of going right onto the east circuit, he's going to go all the way round. But as I say, I'll try and get the corner names dead on. But this is Dunlop here, just this point here. As you can see, the sun's starting to rise. But going into Degner 1 then, drop down to third, trying not to clip the gravel, but he goes wide a bit into Degner 2. So he's going to be firing his way up towards the hairpin, which is the slowest corner on the track. I believe he may drop down to gear 1, maybe gear 2 here. Let's have a look. No, straight down to gear 1. So into the hairpin he goes then. So he's going to go all the way through to this right hand bend. It is a bit careful, watch the cones on exit, but we'll see what he can do here and then head towards Spoon. Spoon is a double left hand bend. You've got to be very careful with track limits here. I remember a certain JP Oliveira in Japanese Super GT, the GT300 class, which is essentially GT300, GT3 cars, go off wide there for track limits in their qualifying session, but he's heading up towards, of course, 130R past the support race pits. Let's see what he's going to do in 130R. What gear is he taking 130R though? Always taking it 6th gear. That's balls and gutsy stuff there for JMR in the Ferrari, the number 55 Ferrari, into, of course, Casio Triangle. Let's see what it's going to do. It is still around 2 minutes and 35 seconds left of qualifying, so his flying lap now will start. As I say, you know, they take it nice and slow here, but he will be now going on a mission to do his first, or probably what will be his first and only flying lap here at Suzuka. We've got the likes of Future Revenge and of course DC Joe. To sitting in pit lane, not a problem at all. I know a few guys like to sit in pit lane. You've got Sergio in, of course, third at the moment with times. Well, that's how they went out of pit lane, I believe. And then you've got Seth and of course Pete, Steve, Lemos, and then of course DC Joe, and of course Dunk and Future Revenge. Rounding up the field, only 9, as I say, only 9 drivers tonight. So, you know, JMR, is he going to go and try and beat the and stop the rot of Lemos, trying to get a couple of wins this evening, or 2 race wins, should I say, and 2 pole positions? So make sure I'm still heard on stream. Yes, I am. So I'm still heard on stream. So a minute and a half to go then in qualifying. It could be another lap if some of these guys string it together. But JMR so far, there's a car off at Casio Triangle. I can't really tell who that is on the map. I'll just have to bring the map up very. I think that is, of course, Sergio at the moment going through Casio Triangle. But you can see the sun starting to rise here at Suzuka. It's or is it starting to set? I don't know if it's starting to rise or start to set. Yeah, it's starting to. It's actually starting to rise actually here at Suzuka. It's just times are different, I think. But we'll see what happens. But JMR then going through, of course, 130R. Is he going to get pole position? He may get another lap out of it. It all depends on how quickly he exits. Obviously, you want. Casio Triangle, Steve goes a 2 minute 2.025 of a second. JMR could beat this, but it's obviously all about that. But JMR actually crosses the line. Whether he's actually had a bit of an issue, because it's actually not updated. It was a 204.5 at the moment, so JMR is actually down on his lap time. I think he was actually on another run, because, you know, I don't know whether he dirtied his lap time somehow. So you got Steve from Hells, and then of course Seth. Of course, Sly Pete going wide at Spoon Curve there. Doesn't want to be doing it too much during the race. I think he's going to abandon that, as a couple of cars actually have abandoned their laps, because obviously with it being short-natured for 5 minutes, as Seth comes through the likes of the Snake. I'm going to call it Snake. Well, he's actually heading up towards Dunlop actually, as Lemos goes a 2 minute 0.723 of a second. Oh, he's lost it. Oh, he doesn't want to be doing that in the race, so that's going to be hefty damage for the Porsche during qualifying. But luckily the pit crew won't have long to actually have a look at the damage, but it may be cosmetic, but he hit the barrier at a great speed there. JMR is yet to be coming through on track. It's the last one, and I think the likes of Lemos, Hells, Steve and Seth are the only ones to set lap times, and I think JMR's going to be the only one probably going to be thereabouts. Let's see what he can do. He's actually gutsy stuff going into Spoon Curve there. As I say, don't want to be running too wide because you get track limit penalties there as well into Spoon, but we'll see how well it goes. As I say, 5 minutes of qualifying goes thick and fast. It's, you know, it's one of them where the guys obviously have to push on, but you know, JMR going through, of course, 130R. What's he going to do for going into Casio Triangle? As I say, that sun must be blinding in his eyes, but he's chrome Ferrari at the moment. Some may blitz off it in race number 1, but we'll see what's going to happen as he goes through and takes, where is he on the grid? He's about to be second, so he's up. No worries, Carlos, mate. We'll see you in the next couple of weeks, mate. But it looks like then JMR is 1.074 of a second from, of course, Lemos at the moment. As I say, it's 9 drivers for, of course, the racing tonight. As I say, it is a bit of a depleted grid tonight. It's a bit unfortunate, but have to deal with what I've got here as we are getting ready for the first of 35-minute races. It looks like, as I say, the sun's still rising here at of course Suzuka. We've got Lemos followed by Joe, then we've got Steve followed by Dunk, then you've got Seth, Pete, Sergio, Future Revenge. I'll try and figure out Future Revenge's real name for the next race at Spa-Francorchamps, and of course DC Joe at the tail of the field in the 720 720S McLaren GT3 car. But yeah, as I say, it's only 9 drivers tonight. Bit of a depleted grid. It is what I've got to do though. You know, I've still got to commentate, but these races will probably be thick and fast tonight. They'll probably be done. It'll probably be finished around 9:30 UK time, or maybe even 15:15. But should be fine. Yeah, will do, mate. Thank you very much. I'm sure the stream will be okay. But yeah, do enjoy the stream, mate, when you do get home. Don't worry about not making it, mate. We know things crop up. It's not a problem at all, mate. But we'll see what's going to happen then, because the guys will have to take a Monday to pit stop. You know, whether it's for fuel or tyres, this is what we're going to find out during, of course, the formation lap in a couple of weeks' time at Silverstone for the final endurance race of the season. Sarko Motorsport, good evening. How are you, mate? Yo, let's race. Indeed, mate, indeed. But yes, I will be going. I'll pick a driver at random. It may be JMR to start with, if he is championship leader. After Spa-Francorchamps would pick JMR, and we'll have a formation talk with, of course, James at Silverstone for what could be a very good insight. We could actually find out his pit strategy, what he's going to go for, what he's going to go in, what his expectations for turn 1 is, and what the expectations probably will be for the race, and maybe a few permutations if he is in contention to win his 3rd title. You know, it's a very close indeed. I believe it's close, really close, as we get DC Joe he's actually going to start from pit lane, so that's going to be a big shame. I don't think he actually managed to click drive as we start, but there is going to be 8 cars that take the grid. Is there? Yes, there is. So this is going to be quite a bit of a weird sort of a race, because hopefully the top 2, maybe even the top 3, don't escape that far up the road. Otherwise I'll be trying to go back and forth, and it's going to be so difficult. You know, this is, I don't mean this in a bad way. I know you guys who were watching the stream, when commentating isn't easy. It's not for the faint-hearted, as well as racing. But when you've only got 9 drivers this evening for the races, it's going to be very difficult for me to try and flip back to like the back of the grid or maybe the front if there's battles. But hopefully we all get a decent battle tonight. You know, there's a few issues going into turn number 1 or turn number 2 at Kyle Army last time out, but hopefully that's been resolved. You know, I don't think the wet weather conditions did help. You got Lemos trying to lead them round, going through Dunlop at the moment as Jomar tries to get ahead of him. Don't want to get too far ahead in the rolling start, because you will get a penalty. It did happen to 2 of the guys last time at Kyle Army. I believe Chris Allen was one of them, and I can't remember for the life of me who the other one was, but it did happen, and I think it is going to be one of them. I think we're going to have a bit of a moment or two where these guys are going to get together. As I say, going rather hairpin in a minute. You've got DC Joe starting from pit lane. That's going to be unfortunate. Whether the setup wasn't correctly on his McLaren, it's probably the first time he's raced a McLaren. Whether he's forgot that he's in the McLaren and not the Ferrari, it's hard to tell. But for the time being, this is obviously, I'm giving you guys a bit of a wave saying, well, this is me. You may think, who is that commentator? Of course, it is of course the legendary and the one and only, and of course now Thursday Night Racing League regular commentator for the PlayStation 4 League, and of course it is Hoppers in the commentary box. You know, bit about me, just while the guys are on the formation lap, I've commentated for multiple leagues previously. Joined TNRL over a couple of years ago. I think it was during 2020, when it was during the lockdown. I'm not too sure whether I did or not, but I'll soon figure it out. But I've been commentating on and off for TNRL. I've almost done a full season this season, apart from obviously Zolder, but I love commentating. I do race occasionally, but I've not raced with these guys. I don't really want to get myself on the grid and race against these guys. No disrespect to these guys, but these guys know what they're doing. I wouldn't know how to set my car up from aero to, I don't know, damping or suspension, etc., and maybe these guys have it worked to the art, I think, to get their setups right. You've got like I say, Lemos and of course Jomar for the top 2 protagonists in the championship. Then you've got Steve. I think Steve's actually not far behind in the championship either. There's quite a few hopefully a few rumours coming in for next season. We'll see probably different cars, hopefully different paint schemes as well, because you know, they do allow custom liveries. I wouldn't know what to race. I wouldn't know how to set my car up from A to B, but as the guys get ready for the first sprint race of the evening, then just going through Casio Triangle. Hopefully DC Joe joins from pit lane, otherwise he's going to have a bit of a shocker evening. But he's starting from pit lane. He may be avoiding the chaos into turn number 1. It all depends, but let's see what's going to happen then. And we are about to get the green light. Marshals are happy, I'm happy in the comments box, and it is almost time for the race. It is, wait for it, it is almost lights out and away we go. Drive through penalty already for Seth for driving for position on the start. That is not what he wants to start his opening race for Thursday Night Racing League, as Lemos and of course Jomar lead the way. The timing screen may throw a bit of a wobbler just to start with, but it looks like Hells is on course to try and get past Steve. There's a bit of banging and boring there between the pair of them. That's allowed. I believe that is allowed. Who's that allowed? Is that allowed? Oh, just trying to figure it out there. No, it's not. It's still it's hard to tell. I think that's actually, yes it is, it's actually Seth Fort with the drive-through penalty up into, of course, 4th place at the moment. He's under pressure from already Steve at the moment, but the top 2 have got a bit of a battle on between championship protagonists, but we'll try and figure out what goes on. The other guys are getting there, and I'll try and flick around at the moment as we got Dunker goes wide there out of Degner 2. I think DC Joe's still actually stuck in pit lane at the moment, so that's not really brilliant for him. But you've got the likes of Hells and of course Sly Pete. Sly Pete's got ahead of him and they've got to, of course, Sergio in the orange racing team Lamborghini. I don't think he's actually called that in real life, but he's in the GT3 Lamborghini Huracan, one of the nicest cars, you know, on the grid. They're all nice cars. There's Future Revenge gets it all crossed up into Spoon, and of course DC Joe in, of course, pit lane at the moment, but JMR then trying to put Lemos under pressure. It was go into 130R, but then you got Steve and of course Seth there. Dear. Steve's got a bit of contact there between, of course, Seth's actually had a bit of an issue, and I believe that's also caused a bit of an issue between Sly Pete as well. That may be looked at between the stewards afterwards, but that is a bit unfortunate for Steve at the moment, as the pit lane is open. I think DC Joe is not going to be entering this race. Seth's still got his two laps service drive-through penalty, otherwise he will be disqualified, which isn't going to be good. But looking at the race lead then, as the camera throws a bit of a wobbler yet again at me, I hate it when it does this, but looks like JMR's literally trying to catch up to Lemos. He's trying to catch him with great speed and not the Ferrari versus the Porsche. Then I'll tell you what, this could be a very interesting battle. We'll go back to that in a very minute, but look at the gap between Seth and of course Hells at the moment. Hells trying to push on with the likes of course Sergio and Steve. Steve's going to be a bit fired up after a bit of an issue between him and of course Seth at the moment, but then you got of course Steve's trying to overtake Sergio there, but going into Degner 1, now into Degner 2, but this is where it could be very important for the Porsche driver, the 789 Porsche driver, the other Porsche, the other factory Porsche car at the moment, trying to get past Sergio into the hairpin. Is he going to do it? But I don't think he is, as Sergio runs a bit wide. Then you got Sly Pete, and of course Future Revenge, and of course DC Joe in pit lane. But going through Spoon Curve then is of course Lemos at the moment, defending like heck to try and get away from JMR at the moment. JMR trying to push on. You know, we know for a fact the Porsches are very overpowered, should I say, but it looks like JMR at the moment going to close him down. You got the likes of Seth at the moment in third place. He's got a big enough gap from Hells at the moment, but Hells is going all towards 130R. But I'll tell you what, Sergio's been overtaken by Steve, but is he going to get that move back on into, of course, 130R? No, he is not. As you can see, Steve trying to get up close and personal to Hells into, of course, Casio Triangle. At the moment, I can't remember why it was called Casio Triangle. Maybe it was because it was shaped like one, but it looks like Seth's gone into pit lane. He's gone in for his drive-through penalty. That's rightly so, because it will end up giving him another lap if he wasn't careful. But looks like now we've got a gaggle of cars for what could be third place. We've got the likes of Hells trying to hold off Steve at the moment. Steve's trying to push away, trying to push up to Hells, but it's not going to be able to be done as of yet. But you know, drive-through penalty for, of course, Seth has dropped him way down now. He was doing very well as well, but unfortunately that was because of position on the rolling start, which didn't help. So 30 minutes to go in this opening race then, with the likes of Steve trying to catch up towards, of course, Hells at the moment. We'll go on board with Steve then, as the drive-through penalty for Seth has now cleared, as race control has told us. But on board with Steve then into Degner 2. Is he going to get onto the back of that? Number 22, James Baldwin liveried style, of course, Jensen Button Rocket Team McLaren 720S into the hairpin. He thinks about it. Is he going to get the move, or is he going to get the nose chopped? No, he's just had to slowly back out of that, as we can go in towards Spoon very shortly. But he's getting onto the back of that McLaren very quickly, Steve, but he's got to try and push on, as we've got the likes of Sergio now literally trying to catch up to this group as well. What's happening further up ahead as the top two have broken away from the rest of the field at the moment, as them two go into Casio Triangle with the likes of Hells. Steve is almost on the back of him in towards of course 130R. So this could be very close to see what happens between the McLaren and the Porsche. Oh, it looks like Steve runs a bit wide. He doesn't want to be doing that again because he had a bit of contact with one McLaren, but he doesn't want contact with a second McLaren going in towards Casio Triangle for what is now the third time, maybe up to the fourth time, but we'll soon find out in a minute or two. Let's have a look. Yes, going on to lap number 3 then. The top 2 are miles ahead of these guys at the moment, but looks like Sergio is literally catching up to the likes of Steve as well as Hells, because if these two make a mistake, that could allow Sergio in the 63 Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evolution to catch these two up very quickly, and it could be a podium or keeping into the top 3 for Sergio at the moment in his only second, well, his third race, but his second meeting of Thursday Night Racing League. So this could be a very close proximity battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th, potentially 6th. Let's have a look at what's happening with the likes of Seth. Then you've got Seth and Future Avenger almost having a bit of a battle themselves as Hells and Steve go in towards the Degners. We'll be very close to see what's going to happen here. Oh, Hells has gone into the wall. Oh no. That's the last thing. I think he caught the dirt and it fired him into the wall, so that's now dropped him down into 4th place. That is going to be a big shame, but he's not giving up. He's not giving up catching up to Steve as of yet, but this is where, you know, the top 2 in the race, you know, look at JMR still catching. We'll just go to the top 2 very quickly, but the top 2 in this race then, with the likes of Lemos and JMR, the top 2, they're actually top 2 in the race. They are miles ahead of the likes of Hells, Steve, and of course Sergio at the moment. Could be 3 wide going out of Spoon. This could be absolutely unreal between these guys. It looks like Hells is trying to, I don't know whether he's had a bit of body damage on that McLaren, the number 22 machine. He gets overtaken by Sergio going before 130R. What a still a bit. Oh no, Sergio's lost it. You can see he was going sideways into 130R. That has dropped him down. Bit unfortunate for him. Bit unfortunate for the Italian driver. We could see the car on stream literally just go sideways. Oh, potential podium has now gone unless anything happens between Steve and of course Hells and of course Sly Pete, but Sly Pete's not that, is a bit far behind between these guys at the moment. This is absolutely unreal. I'll tell you what, I'm actually really enjoying these battles at the moment. But the likes of Steve then, and of course Hells doesn't want to clip the dirt anymore because it will spit him back round again. But you can just see how close it's getting. I think, yes, it's going to get very close. Not too sure what's happened to DC Joe, whether he's realised he's in the McLaren and not the Ferrari. But it's a big shame really, because that is going to be somewhat unreal at the moment, as I try and sort myself out with 25 minutes almost to go in the opening race here at Suzuka for the Thursday Night Racing League. This is round number 7 of round number 5, I beg your pardon, season 7 of the PlayStation 4 lobby. And I'll tell you what, you guys are in for a treat later on for race number 2. If race number 1 is like this at the moment, race number 2 is going to be even better, no doubt. But JMR then still trying to catch up to Lemos, just see what the front 2 are doing at the moment. It seems that JMR then is obviously trying to push on from Lemos. He's got to push up to Lemos. He can't afford Lemos to escape up the road. Excuse me. Steve going through Spoon then, as we are around just under 25 minutes to go in this opening race. As I say, it is a bit of a topsy-turvy race so far. But if you just joined us, guys, we do have, of course, we had a bit of a nice battle between Sergio and of course Hells and Steve, but then Sergio got a bit crossed up. I think he clipped the curb at 130R and it just slid him sideways, and it's lost him a bit of ground there, unfortunately, for the orange racing team Lamborghini Huracan GT3. But nevertheless, Steve goes into pit lane now. Has he flat spotted his tyres, or is it for fuel? It's hard to tell. These guys can't really tell me exactly, but this is why we're going to try an initiative into into the season finale at Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time, where during the formation lap I will get a driver to tell me their thoughts ahead of the race. That is what we're going to do for next season, for season 8. I think it will be giving you guys a bit of a prerogative and a bit of an insight to what these guys are going to do for season 8, and who knows where we're going. So Hells is currently there in third, then Lemos and JMR. Where is Lemos? Has he gone off? No, he's not. I thought he'd gone off, but it's the camera that's playing up at the moment. But Lemos then still leading from JMR. James has got to push on. He's literally got to push on. He's got to not afford to let Lemos get too far ahead. I think Steve was actually making a mandatory pit stop, so fair enough. With 20, with some that just come up to 23 minutes to go, I think that was probably a bold move there, just to say, you know, right, I want to get some clear traffic, because I know the other guys in front of me and the other two, probably the other two behind me, are going to have to make them. But you've got the likes of Seth there, and of course Future Revenge just coming up towards Dunlop now in the Bentley Continental GT. Then got Lemos, and of course JMR's catching him some sort of speed, but nevertheless we'll see exactly what's going to happen with these guys. But Hells is still there in third, then Sly Pete fourth, then you got Sergio currently in fifth, then worked his way back up to fifth. Fair play to him. But hopefully he'll be on the podium in the next race. I really hope, because he was on course to do really well in this race. Still a long way to go though, not even at the halfway stage yet. But I can see exactly what's happened with Sergio, trying to push on. And you've got the likes of Steve there going up towards Spoon Curve. But looking at what's going on here at the moment, JMR and of course Lemos, they're almost out in the second. Degner's the light years ahead of Hells in the McLaren. But this is absolutely insane. This is what I mean with the depleted grid. It is very difficult, and I mean very difficult to literally concentrate on who's battling where. There's not many battles galore at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate, as Hells goes off dirt tracking again. But he's caught back up to go third, as Sly Pete goes into pit lane as well for the 777 McLaren 720S as he goes out towards pit lane. Gotta be careful. Pit lane speed limiter is just at the end of where Sly Pete has gone, but is that allowed the likes of Seth and of course Sergio. Sergio's currently fourth then, so he's not far away to get back onto the podium, no doubt. But it all depends on what's going to happen ahead, because the likes of Lemos and JMR going through Casio Triangle, going, as I say, that these two are light years ahead at the moment. This is about unreal, with around 21, just under 21 minutes to go in the opening race here at Suzuka this evening for the Thursday Night Racing League round number 5, as we do have JMR and of course Lemos, JMR, Hells, and of course Sergio. Sergio's just coasting round. He's had a bit of damage onto that Lamborghini. Maybe he's just, I don't know whether it's had a bit of a knock, but nevertheless he's done very well so far to get back up into fourth, with the likes of Hells still pushing on in third place then. Oh, and there's Shoemaker. Seth has gone. He's disconnected. Electrical issues in that McLaren 720S then. That's a bit unfortunate for the series debutant. So it's now going to be 7 races that are classified finished, because DC Joe is still in pit lane at the moment. That is actually really unfortunate. But hopefully there is no issues at the moment for the other guys. But when it does that, you know for a fact there's going to be some connection issues there. But fingers crossed and touch wood, there is not any more issues throughout this race. We've got around just coming up to 19 minutes to go in this race. We've got Lemos still leading from JMR. James has got to push on. James needs to really push on for dear life to get up to Lemos. He needs to literally not afford to Lemos get away. He could do with a car ahead of him to try and put Lemos under pressure, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But it looks like the likes of Hells is still there in third. You've got Sergio currently still fourth at the moment. Then you've got Steve fifth, Future Revenge in sixth, Sly Pete seventh, DC Joe in pit lane. There's not really many battles now, so you know it's going to be a case of trying to flip through. But the top two with around 18 minutes and 40 seconds to go here at round number 5, season 7 of the Thursday Night Racing League, the PlayStation 4 lobby here at Suzuka this evening. The last 2 sprint races of the season as well. It is really going to be very unstoppable. You can see the likes of Lemos and JMR there trying to push on for what could be a very interesting battle between these two, the championship protagonists. We know for a fact Lemos wants to win a championship this season. He's been beaten by the bullet, the silver bullet of course, JMR, gut powering his way out of towards Dunlop, now towards up the Degners. He's going to have to try and catch up. He's going to have to put that foot flat to the floor to catch up to Lemos, even through the metal flooring of that Ferrari, if he wants to like extend that gap and catch up to Lemos. But to tell you what, still got a long way to go. 17 minutes and 42 seconds left of the opening race here at Suzuka this evening for the Thursday Night Racing League round number 5 at Suzuka. Can you believe we're already at round number 5? It's absolutely unreal. We're actually halfway through the race now, so you know, halfway stage then. This is absolutely close stuff. I tell you what, it's gutsy stuff. It was gutsy stuff to start with like Sergio, Steve and Hells, when they had quite a bit of a battle between them. But Steve's probably got some clear air. He's probably thinking, right, I need this clear air, because if everyone else makes pit stops in front of me and I get clear and they have to pit, but it's only like probably for fuel or tyres. But Lemos then going through 130R up towards Casio Triangle. What's he going to do? Is he staying out, or is he going to go into pit lane? It's hard to tell what these guys are going to do. Oh, he blinks, he goes into pit lane, and so race leader into pit lane. That will give JMR a point for leading the race, no doubt. But it seems like Lemos is the first one to blink out of the race lead then. So the race lead battle is probably now prematurely to an end at the moment, but we'll soon find out. Still got Hells in, of course, third at the moment, Sergio in, of course, fourth, Steve fifth, Future Revenge in sixth, Sly Pete in seventh. But he's actually quite actually, just as we join, he's actually quite caught up to, of course, Future Revenge at the moment, going through Degner 1 into Degner 2. So the McLaren driver caught up to the Bentley Continental GT. This might not end in tears, you know. This might actually end in a quite close battle between the two cars. But the 777 720S McLaren, that is right, the Midnight Purple-esque McLaren, catching up to the grunt of the Bentley Continental GT of Future Revenge there. But Future Revenge has to take a mandatory, but Lemos has come out in second then. But we'll concentrate on this battle for the time being. But let's see what's going to happen here. But you can just see with the likes of Future Revenge and of course Sly Pete's trying to think about it one way or another, going out of Spoon up towards 130. I don't really want contact here. Oh, there's been a bit of a touch. Oh no. But I think that was kind of a bit of an accident, you know, bit of a gutsy and bit of a gutsy move there. But Sergio goes into pit lane then, so that's allowed him to, probably will allow the likes of Sly Pete up into fifth. Then Steve is fourth now. Lemos is currently going through, just trying to figure out where he is, going through Spoon at the moment with JMR working his way into pit lane. Then got to slow it down. Oh, that was a bit of a nightmare. But Lemos is up to towards 130R, powering his way up towards 130R. Then is he going to be able to do it? Is he literally going to be tooth and nail? This could be a tooth and nail battle between the top two in the championship as well as the top two in the race now. But it all depends what's going to happen as Lemos fires his way into Casio Triangle. Where is JMR? He's still in pit lane. He's still in pit lane. Lemos could take the race lead again. This is not really what JMR needs. He's actually he's got going. Is he going to get out? Is he going to get out, or is Lemos going to overtake him? Let's find out. Oh no, Lemos! You can hear that Porsche. You can hear that flat engine, that flat six engine of the Porsche. Get back into the race lead. JMR's probably going to be on cold tyres, or whether he's got enough fuel to boot to get back up to Lemos with Hells in third. Then this is absolutely unreal. I can't believe what I've seen tonight so far, guys. This is what Thursday Night Racing League is all about. It is going to be very close to see what is going to happen with 13 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the opening race here at Suzuka for round number 5 of season 7. Thursday Night Racing League, the last sprint race of the season, will be coming up after another 5 minutes of qualifying, but hopefully we get 9 drivers in, maybe even 10 drivers. It'd be good to see, but we'll see what happens with Hell's still got to take his mandatory. Steve still in there in 4th, Sly Pete 5th though, after a bit of a knock with Future Revenge, but Future Revenge going up towards Casio Triangle in that Bentley Continental GT. I'll tell you what, could be very close as Future Revenge doesn't want to go pit lane yet. He will have to take a mandatory, like, because if he doesn't, the stewards unfortunately will black flag him and disqualify him. But looking at the likes of Sergio at the moment, then it could be very careful to see what is going to happen with Sergio currently in 7th. Then he did very well to start with, but you know, fair play. Still sticking at it, still in 7th place though, fair play to him. JMR though where is JMR? He's heading up towards Casio Triangle. 12 minutes to go in this race. The checkered flag, he's not far away. It's 12 minutes to go with that checkered flag. This is absolutely unreal, but who knows what is going to happen. But you can just see the likes of Lemos trying to push on at the moment. This is absolutely unreal. But you know, 11 minutes and 43 seconds left. This JMR going to catch him. Hells goes into pit lane then, so Hells is doing his mandatory, and I believe Future Revenge going out towards the Degners, or towards the hairpin. Steve up to 130R then. Might be an easy catch to get up to Hells in a minute, but we'll soon figure that out. JMR's probably kicking himself thinking, why did I just, you know, I went into pit lane. I need to take, you know, he needs to catch up to Lemos. This is why I love commentating on these guys. These guys give me so much joy and so much entertainment. As Hells is coming out of pit lane as Steve goes down the start finish line. This could be a neck and neck battle going out of pit lane and in to turn number 1. Let's see what's going to happen. Where is that McLaren 720S? Oh, ho, ho, ho. You can just about see what's going to happen here between Steve and of course Hells. They probably will be having a bit of war of words, but who knows what's going to happen here with the likes of Steve and Hells at the moment. Hells is now 4th, Sly Pete in of course 5th, Future Revenge in 6th, could be still 6th in very soon, but Sergio about to be a lap down from Lemos, but nevertheless that is, you know, that's, you know, it's a bit of a shame he's 7th, but only 7 finishes in a race number 1. You know, it's a bit unfortunate for the commentating, but it is what it is. But 10 minutes to go then. Lemos has got 10 minutes before the checkered flag drops for the first sprint race of the evening. He might feel comfortable with that, he might not be, but who knows what's going to happen for race number 2. JMR still got to try and catch him up, but excuse me, as Steve powers his way out of, let's try to figure out where he is. Yeah, going through Spoon, that's where he's going through Spoon Curve. But he's heading up towards 130R, then 9.5 minutes to go in this opening race. Then what is going to happen for race number 2, guys? Place your bets in chat. Place your bets in chat. Is James going to get a winner? Lemos and James going to get a winner piece tonight, or are we going to see a double from Lemos? Let us know in the comments, guys. Let us know who you're rooting for. And please do a like and subscribe to TNRL. It'll help me out massively. It'll help the guys out massively to get them noticed on stream. But at the moment, and Steve is currently 3rd. Dunk's slowly but surely catching up. You've got the likes of Slide Pete in, of course, 5th place at the moment. Future Revenge still there. And, of course, a lowly now 6th place, because Sergio is currently still 18.9 of a second from Future Revenge at the moment, but in the orange electric motors Lamborghini Huracan GT3, an absolutely nice livery. All cars look very nice, I must admit. But 8.5 minutes to go. Then we've got DC Joe still in pit lane. No idea why. It's a bit unfortunate, because that is going to cost him dearly tonight. There's, like, as I say, only 7 classified finishes. That is, I don't like to say this, but it's a bit poor at the moment. But you know, it is what it is. As you got the likes of Sergio holding off Lemos, trying to not get a lap down by Lemos, but Lemos has got to flash his lights. But Sergio is there, but the blue flag etiquette probably will come into place very soon. But Lemos has got to be careful, especially if he wants to get past Sergio. And but if he gets held up by Sergio, that could allow James to catch up. Oh, nicely done between the pair of them, so it doesn't hold Lemos up too much. But 7.5 minutes to go in this race. Then you've got Lemos still there leading, JMR 2nd, Steve 3rd, Hells in 4th, then Sly Pete in 5th, Future Revenge in currently, Sly Pete, I thought Sly Pete had gone. Sly Pete in, of course, 5th, Future Revenge in 6th, Sergio in 7th. So that is your top 7, and what will be your 7 finishes for race number 1 at the moment. It's a bit unfortunate, as I say, for a depleted grid this evening, but could be very, very close to see what could happen towards the end of this 7 minutes remaining in race number 1. But it is what it is. But as I say, it is very it is very disappointing with the size of the grid this evening. Wasn't expecting it to be a very depleted grid like it is tonight. With, like I say, with only 7 finishers in race number 1 at the moment. It's you know, I know I commentate, but it is very frustrating. You know, especially with everyone now equally spread out. It just feels like, you know, a lot of things, but I can't say what I have to say, because, you know, I have to be professional about it. But, you know, it is very frustrating indeed for myself, and probably the guys that do run Thursday Night Racing League, you know, such as myself, and of course JMR, Stefano Marchetto, and of course a few other admins like you in that. But it is what it is. But we'll crack on. But we'll come up to 5.5 minutes to go then, with the likes of Lemos still leading from JMR. This guy is, of course, back-to-back champion at the moment. Is he going to make it from 3 championship wins this season, or are we going to see what's going to happen between these guys? Well, obviously Lemos is miles ahead now. He's around 5.3 of a second between him and JMR. Then you've got Steve 3rd, with the likes of Hells coming up towards 130R as Steve goes out of Casio Triangle. Sly Pete still in, of course, 5th place. Future Revenge still yet to take his mandatory. He may take it towards the end, because I think sometimes he does take it towards the end. But as I say, time will tell. But Future Revenge there, still in, of course, 6th place, about to get a lap from Lemos, as now Germar's now dispatched Sergio for a lap, but fair play to Sergio sticking at it after that half spin at 130R a few laps ago. But I tell you what, 4 minutes to go then until the checkered flag drops. I think Germar's going to have to concede to Lemos this time round, but who knows what season 8 will bring, especially what circuits we visit, and it all depends on weather conditions, etc. But you know, Lemos is going through Casio Triangle. Is JMR going to be able to catch him with just under 4 minutes to go? Who knows what's going to happen? I think the likes of you know, it could get very close, because Future Revenge is a car between him and Lemos, but Lemos doesn't need JMR doesn't need that car in front of him. He wants to catch up to Lemos. He's 3.9 of a second now behind, with around 3.5 minutes to go in this opening race here at Suzuka for round number 5, season 7 of Thursday Night Racing League PlayStation 4 lobby, with your host and the one and only and the legendary, and of course TNR commentator expert now in the one of course Hoppers in the commentary box. Hope everyone is well, hope everyone's enjoying the stream, but it is a bit unfortunate we've got only 7 finishes this evening. It is not the best, but I'll just have to persevere with 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go. Is JMR going to be kicking himself unless Lemos makes a mistake, and makes a massive mistake? Highly doubt it, because Lemos hardly makes any mistakes, but track limits, oh my days, oh my days. Before we say this, this is absolutely unreal. But JMR, that is right, James has got a drive-through penalty for track limits with 2.5 minutes to go. What on earth? He is going to be absolutely livid. He can't. It's almost commentator's curse. What the heck? But this is now gonna ruin his race. I feel sorry for him, but track limits are track limits. He is going to be absolutely devoed with that. He's going to be absolutely devastated. He's going to have to take it now, because he's only got 1 minute and 50 seconds left before the checkered flag drops. That is now going to allow Steve, unless Steve can get, you know, Lemos is now on the final lap as well. Gemma has to take it. Oh no! Oh! 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 Jermar's going to be kicking himself. That is going to cost him time. That is actually literally going to cost him time. Where is Lemos? Going through the S bend, going through the snake curves, as I'm going to call it, because it's like a snake, because it slivers left to right. But Jermar's drive-through penalty is now cleared. He's around about 24.2 seconds behind Lemos. That is not going to go down well in the Team JMR camp tonight. That is not going to literally go down well with the 55 Ferrari crew tonight. That is probably going to be something that will probably need to be addressed for, of course, race number 2. The track limits need to be looked at. But I'll tell you what, Future Revenge takes his mandatory, so that's allowed Sergio to take, of course, 6th place at the moment. But I'll tell you what, fair play to Lemos. He's probably smiled and laughed at that and thinking, saw that come with his pit crew probably told him, the 24 Porsche, his crew told him that JMR had a drive-through penalty for track limits. Lemos can't afford to have any track limits abuse anyway, because he's about to go up towards 130R for the final time. This is absolutely final time in the first sprint race of the evening. We'll go on board with Lemos going up towards Casio Triangle then, as he's about to take the checkered flag for the first sprint race of the evening here at Suzuka for round number 5, season 7. And I'll tell you what an absolute well-deserved victory for Lemos. Flashes the lights in delight with that. He will be laughing. He will be literally screaming with delight in that helmet because JMR had a drive-through penalty for track limit. His title nemesis, his title protagonist for 2 seasons with a drive-through penalty for track limits. JMR, you are going to be absolutely livid with that, my friend. But I tell you what, fair play to JMR to come home in second. I don't think he's flashed the lights because he's a bit very peed off with that. But I tell you what, second place will do, but he needs to work harder in race number 2. But we've got the likes, of course, Steve coming home in third. I tell you what, this is absolutely unreal. What have we seen so far this evening in round number 5 of season 7? The PlayStation 4 lobby. Steve gets onto the podium. He will be delighted with that. Sergio actually finishes a lap down in, of course, 6th place at the moment with the likes of Hells is... where is Hells? Oh, Lemos has gone. Is Lemos gone? Because that's going to be unfortunate for race number 2 if Lemos has gone. But Hells is currently... ooh, that's hard to tell because Lemos actually won the race, but then he's disconnected. But I don't really know. I need to find out what is exactly going on, because that will be technically, if Lemos has had issues, that could be 6 finishes tonight. And you got Sly Pete, but I'm just going to find out something in a minute, guys. But there we go. We'll get the screenshot for the race results, and I'll be back. But yeah, so that was round number still round number 5, but race number 1. We've got a bit of a break between race 2 qualifying and, of course, race 2 itself. We need to find out exactly what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen then. Just in the process of probably sorting out the server for race number 2. But Lemos takes the victory, then followed by Jermart, followed by... I don't think Lemos is back actually, but followed by Jermar with his qualify, well, his trophy penalty. But Jermar is the first to go. I don't know whether Lemos is coming back for race number 2. It's a bit unfortunate if he isn't, because that is only going to be probably now 7 drivers. This is, you know, I feel like, you know, I can't really say much, but you know, there's quite a few guys that are probably going to sit out qualifying. Hopefully DC Joe does not stay in pit lane for the duration of the 35-minute second 35-minute sprint race, because then we can have all 7 cars, maybe even 8 cars on the grid. Not too sure where Lemos has gone, but hopefully he will be back very soon. But get ready then for the second qualifying session. As I say, it is going to be still going to be one of the most close commentating races, but let's see what's going to happen, because we do have few cars still in pit lane at the moment as well. Got Sly Pete, Future Revenge, DC Joe and Hells still in pit lane, so there's only like 3 cars, yeah, 3 cars out for qualifying at the moment. That is not too sure exactly what's going on at the moment, because it seems that, you know, a few cars are, you know, trying to push on, but hopefully we don't get many drop out during the race as well. But it's a bit unfortunate when you've only got to commentate on 7 cars, maybe 8 cars, or even 6 cars. It is very frustrating for a commentator, because with the grid being depleted, you know, especially if the likes of JMR now goes miles ahead in race number 2, and there's not many battles, it's just going to be, you know, a bit unfortunate. But it is what it is. I can't do much about it. I can't tell the guys to say, you know, come on, let's race. So you've got the likes of Sergio, Steve and JMR who are out on track for qualifying. Sergio's done quite well to get where he was for, of course, qualifying in a race, well, where he was in race number 1. Just to remind you, just while the guys are on a flyer, Lemos won from JMR, Steve in 3rd, Hells 4th, Sly Pete 5th, Sergio 6th, Future Revenge 7th. Of course, Seth and DC Joe are really on non-finishers in race number 1, but we are just qualifying for race number 2, which I'd hop on and hop into the race mode if I could, but I'm not a professional racer. I am not the best. I'm just the commentator, sadly. But as I say, the numbers have been depleted, and it's a bit unfortunate for the second race of the evening, as well as the whole evening. Actually, it's been a bit of a unfortunate night of racing. I thought there'd be a lot more people and potentially a lot more battles, but we'll get the likes of JMR and Steve that will, and of course Sergio, that will be the top 3 on the grid, because they will be the top 3 on the grid, whereas the others will be thereabouts with around 55 seconds to go before qualifying does finish. We'll see what happens. I think Steve's going to be on a flyer. JMR's probably kicking himself still from, of course, race number 1's drive-through penalty, but we'll soon find out as Steve goes a bit faster there, as JMR has got to set a lap again. But Sergio may be the other one, as JMR actually jumps into, where is he at the moment? He's jumped out the way. I think he jumped out the way to get a clear track, but 24 seconds left then. As I say, it's a bit unfortunate for the number of races this evening, but as Sergio goes into pit lane, he is just abandoning that lap, which is now going to probably put him not in the right frame of mind. Don't know what is exactly happening. Steve is the only one at the moment. Steve in the Porsche is the only one to set a lap time for qualifying number 2. Not too sure what's going to happen, because with 7 races, it can be very infuriating, but it is what it is. What's JMR doing at the moment? We've got around a couple of minutes. He did a 207.023 of a second last time up, but as I say, it's a bit unfortunate for this evening, with around 7 races. You know, with only 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 drivers at least that went out on track for qualifying at the time. But then obviously, you know, Sergio went into pit lane. I think he abandoned his lap, but we'll see what JMR can do. It probably will be, hopefully, not a bad lap time from the Brit, but unfortunately time's run out and he's not been able to set a lap time, so it is only Steve that has set a lap time for qualifying number 2, which, you know, I think, you know, just looking at what is going to happen for race number 2, I hope Lemos does come back I think he has come back. No, he hasn't. Which is a bit unfortunate because the like of yeah, there's only 7 cars on the grid for this the second race of the evening. Then, so it is Steve, Sly Pete, Sergio, I beg your pardon, Future Revenge, Jermar, DC Joe, and Hells that complete the 7 races for race number 2. It is a 35-minute race. I hope I'm just not flicking through, because if I am, I don't know what I'm going to do. At the moment, there's only one viewer on stream as well, and who's watching it live, and that is myself. And I am very bitterly, and I hate to say this on stream, I'm very bitterly disappointed for this evening. You know, but yeah, there's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. With the low numbers and of course people watching the stream, it's I hate to say this, but it is a bit of a nightmare at the moment. You know, I give up my time to commentate, and these guys give up their time to race. But you know, when there's a depleted grid, it's really, and especially 35-minute racing, you know, if Steve gets miles ahead now and JMR doesn't catch him up, or you know, everyone or there's a bit of an issue, or the other guys don't have battles, it's just going to flip through throughout the 35-minute race, and it's going to be, I hate to say the word boring, but it looks like, you know, we could be in for a bit of a strange second race of the evening, strange second 35-minute of racing. You know, it's not easy to commentate, but it's even not easier when you've only got 7 races on the grid. But we'll see what happens for the rest of, well, the second 35-minute race. We've got, of course, Steve, Sly Pete, Sergio, Future Revenge, JMR, DC Joe, and Hells at the tail of the field. It could be a very interesting, hopefully no one goes into pit lane this time round, because if they do, then could be only 6 drivers, but we'll soon find out, as yeah, DC Joe yet again goes into pit lane. I don't know what's going on tonight with these guys. I don't know what, you know, what really is going to go on, and now is 6 drivers for the race, unless DC Joe, when the green flag and the green lights do come on, decide to go out of pit lane. You know, it's a very, I hate to say this, but it's a very frustrating night for myself in the commentary booth. So I don't know what's really going to happen. I don't know if I really want to do driver interviews, because I just feel like I'm just going to say some choice words, but you know, at the moment, Steve, Sly Pete, Sergio, yeah, Sergio, Future Revenge, JMR, and Hells are your cars that are out on track. DC Joe yet again in pit lane. It's a bit unfortunate, because with 35 minutes of racing, and if there's not many battles, it's just going to be a bit of a, I'm going to say palaver, but it is what it is at the moment. I can't do much about it. I can't tell the guys, look, you know, if you sign up to race. You know, it's a bit unfortunate. Not too sure what's happened to Lemos, but you know, it's looking likely we're only going to probably get 6 races to complete the second 35-minute race here at Suzuka for round number 5, season 7, the Thursday Night Racing League. I hope we get more people next time out at Spa-Francorchamps for the penultimate round of the championship. You know, it's very unfortunate, and you know, to have 6 races essentially now out on track. You know, something needs to change, guys. And you know, as I say, as much as I love commentating, it's infuriating. You know, I can't just, you know, flip through the grid, because it loses people interest. you know, we want battles, we want, you know, we want a lot of decent things ongoing, but you know, it's looking likely Hells has got to catch these guys up. You know, he's going to be too far back otherwise, and we don't want that. But it's going to be very interesting. Slide Pete needs to get a move on, needs to catch up to Steve. I think Hells is just going to let these guys go, I think, because, you know, he doesn't want to afford first corner chaos, and I think that's what he's going to try and do. But at the moment, it's looking likely that Steve's going to lead them around then up towards 130R. Slide Pete's going to have to get in formation with him. There's quite a few cars that aren't in formation. Hells has just about joined onto the back of JMR, I think, or is he? No, he has a bit now. Slide Pete is there. He's joined alongside Steve now, which, as the guys get into formation, I think they were just actually getting into formation, so it's just going to be a bit of a weird one as Steve goes through Casio Triangle all on his own at the minute, which isn't going to help. He's going to have to back them all up, I think, which it's a bit unfortunate to find out what's exactly going on at the moment, because, you know, with the guys, as we're waiting for the green light and the green flag to drop for the second race of the evening, let's see what's going to happen. There's quite a few cars out of position. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen for the second 35-minute race, and it is almost. Starters are happy, marshals are happy, I'm happy. Let's see what's going to happen, and of course it's going to be lights out and away we go for the second time this evening. Who's going to get the jump in towards turn number 1 then? It looks like JMR has already got a very good jump onto the likes of Sergio into third place, which he does already, which then that pushes him right down. We'll see DC Joe still in pit lane then, so 6 races at the moment. This is going to probably be looking likely a bit of a topsy-turvy race for me, but it is what it is. But the likes of Slide Pete and then of course Sergio's now dropped down to 5th place at the moment, with the likes of JMR now still up into 3rd. He's got Hells behind him. Hells is trying to catch him up at great speed and knots. You've got the likes of Steve escaping up the road, which we kind of thought that's exactly what would happen between the likes of these guys, but as the time screen throws a bit of a wobbler. Slide Pete currently in 2nd with JMR behind him in 3rd at the moment, with of course Hells, but it looks like Future Revenge and of course Sergio are having a bit of a nice battle further back, as Slide Pete and of course JMR, a bit of contact between the pair of them. JMR's finding it a bit difficult. I don't know whether that was accidental, but he might have to give that place back. We'll soon find out what the stewards think of that. But Slide Pete is now dropped down to the tail of the field in 6th place then. He's not going to be happy with that, and I'll tell you what, I don't think the stewards are going to be happy with how many races we've actually got left this evening. But JMR then into 2nd place then. Is he going to catch up to Steve? Steve's actually miles ahead, just exiting Spoon. He's about to head up towards 130R. This could be a very, you know, not even what am I going to call it, not even a bit of a, it's not topsy-turvy yet, but JMR's literally trying to catch up to Steve to go through 130R. He's got Hells, he's got Dunk trying to chase him down in the James Baldwin, Chris Bunkum, Jensen Button Rocket McLaren 720S. But pit lane is now open for anyone that wants to make that mandatory, so it is a bit unfortunate. See what's going to happen. We've got around 6 drivers on track then, but this is where it's going to get probably now spread out, because we've got the likes of Sergio 4th and Future Revenge in of course 5th, Pete in of course 6th, and poor DC Joe still in pit lane at the moment. Not too sure exactly what's been going on for the former Ferrari driver, as Steve ekes out that advantage from JMR at the moment. You know, this is exactly what I really didn't want to expect for race number 2 this evening, but it looks like at the moment JMR and of course Hells 2nd and 3rd, but we'll see what's going to happen as the likes of Hells is there. You've got Sergio going through Dagna 2, trying to push on with the likes of Future Revenge, trying to catch him up, as well as Slow Pete from, of course, second, now down to 6th, as the likes of Steve pushes away. He's trying to push away through up towards Spoon, with JMR trying to catch him, but the two Silver Machines literally are first and second at the moment. One's a Porsche and obviously one's a Ferrari, but we're going to soon find out exactly what's going to happen between these guys. It could be a battle between Steve and of course JMR in this race. It's as I say, it's a very depleted grid for race number 2 now. It's not the best, and it's not been, it's been very difficult this evening, I must admit, but I'll still commentate with around 31 minutes to go in the last race, as Hells goes off at 1:30. That's going to drop him back now and drop him into the clutches of Sergio. Sergio could catch him up towards Casio Triangle. We'll soon find out. Oh, Sergio locks up a break into Casio Triangle there. Doesn't want to be doing that anytime soon, any quicker, as he now slithers out of control. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. He's hit the barrier there. Only a slight kiss on the barrier, but that's now dropped him right down to the tail of the field. All that work he's done to get where he was, and he's now dropped down to the tail of the field. That's a bit unfortunate for the Italian driver, but hopefully he'll pick up the pace and crack on. He did so well in race number 1. Had a nice battle, but hopefully he will pick up and get further and further ahead, or catch the guys up, as JMR still catching up to Steve. He's 1.7 of a second at the moment, it seems, but yet to figure out what is going to happen between the likes of JMR and Steve, and of course Hells, and of course Future Revenge now, and Sly Pete in 5th, and then of course Sergio in 6th. It could be very close to see what's going to happen. But Steve then breaking into the hairpin in that Porsche. You saw a lick of flame out of the exhaust, trying to push on away from JMR. JMR's trying to catch him at great speed or not, but whether he does or not is another thing. But as I say, it is going to be probably a bit of a nightmare between these lot, but it's a bit of a battle for the likes of Future Revenge, Sly Pete, and of course Sergio at the moment. It could be. It seems it's a bit spread out now, but as JMR trying to catch up towards Steve at the moment as they head up towards 1:30. It's a bit. This is what's going to happen, but we'll soon figure out, because the likes of JMR and of course Steve is going to be thereabouts, but who knows what's going to happen. As I say, if you are watching the stream, guys, there will be no driver interviews tonight, unfortunately, due to the depleted grid. I feel like, I need to wind down and try and think what's going to happen, because, I'm a bit frustrated at the minute. So, JMR literally trying to push on for what could be a first victory of the evening, but no idea where Lemos has gone. It's a big shame, because Lemos would have been up for another victory this evening, but it is what it is. But JMR's still there, and of course second place at the moment, trying to catch up to Steve, but Steve's eking that advantage. You've got Hells still there, and of course third, Future Revenge still in 4th then, with that Bentley Continental GT. Sly Pete literally, I think he locked up a brake there, thinking he pushed too hard, and that's now going to allow the likes of Sergio to catch him up, but who knows what's going to happen. I'll tell you what, we'll share some love on the stream and I'll give it a thumbs up, because I'll tell you what, it is going to be very close to see what is going to happen in the remainder of this race. We're around 27 and 40 seconds to go, 27 minutes and 37 seconds to go now, as DC Joe still in pit lane, which is very unfortunate, with the likes of Steve getting away from JMR. JMR's literally trying to catch him. The two silver bullets ahead, but it's a bit of a gap to Hells at the moment. 7.5 of a second between JMR and of course Hells at the moment. Hells has got to push on literally to get that, and it's 7.7 of a second from himself and Future Revenge at the moment. And then you got Sly Pete 4.0, could be even a longer 4.0 of a second between him and Future Revenge. It's not too far between them two, but then you've got Sergio trying to catch up. He's 2.240 of a second as he actually hits the barrier quite hard there, going out to Spoon. But is he going to carry on, or is he going to have to pit? It looks like that car might be slightly heavily damaged, but he's still got 26 minutes to go in this race as Steve cracks on. 3.0 of a second. I'll tell you what, I'm going to seriously, you know, just carry on, but you know, I feel like I need some words about this, because you know, I feel like, you know, this needs to be sorted. I know people have lives and stuff like that, but you know, for me to commentate, you know, it's a bit unfortunate that the grid's dropped, and I believe Slide Pete's now gone into pit lane, and of course Sergio's now gone into pit lane as well. Oh, that was close on the pit limiter. But Slide Pete's also gone into pit lane, but I think Sergio's going to have to serve some damage time to repair the car. I think the team will have to look at the damage. You know, JMR's 2.7 of a second now to Steve, but I think Steve's might have this one in the bag, as Hells goes a bit wide there. And I'll tell you what, Hells goes wide. He's run a bit wide out of Degner 2, that is. But we'll soon find out exactly what's going to happen here for the McLaren and Bentley driver, as Hells gets alongside, or Future Revenge gets alongside. Slide Pete actually goes out of pit lane, but there's actually been a bit of contact, has there, between the two drivers? Yes, there has. There's been contact between Hells and Future Revenge. This is exactly no idea what's been going on tonight, because I hate to say this, but we're now with the third and fourth people, as Hells and Future Revenge nearly have another collision. I don't know what is exactly going on at the moment. As Steve is now 3.4 of a second from JMR at the moment. I don't know whether I should stop the stream or whether I'll just carry on, because I tell you what, it's, you know, I feel like there's a lot of things ongoing, and I can't really picture it in my head at the moment. I feel sorry for Sergio, because he's got quite a bit of damage. He's going to be probably thereabouts, but you know, with the likes of Future Revenge and Hell's still pushing on into Casio Triangle, just throw the helicam up for a moment or two, but we'll soon figure out, as the likes of Future Revenge and Hell still push on. JMR is still there. Whereabouts is Steve? Stop and go penalty for Sergio, and I believe that might have been for speeding in the pit lane as well. Just as he come into pit lane, he literally clipped the line and didn't realise that, you know, the pit lane speed limiter was coming up. Well, the pit lane speed was coming up very quickly, so I think it is for that. We've got around 23.5 minutes as Slide Pete goes off, so that is now going to be pushing the likes of Sergio's race. It's going to ruin it, but hopefully not. But it should be okay with the likes of Slide Pete, Hells and Future Avenger at play again, with the likes of Sergio, as Future Avenger gets a bit of a nerf up the backside from the number 22 Chris Buncombe and James Baldwin's McLaren liveried, as Future Revenge tries to overtake Sergio. At the moment Sergio goes a bit wide, but these two come together. The likes of Hells and Future Revenge came together on this corner just a lap ago. Don't want to be doing that again, but soon figure out what is going on, because I believe Sergio is going to be a lap down, as the likes of Hells and Future Revenge are having a bit of a battle. Hopefully this doesn't end in tears between these two, because if it does, it's probably going to be, it probably will be catastrophic. But we'll soon figure out what's going to happen. But we'll soon find out what's going to happen with the likes of Dunk and of course Future Revenge. At the moment we'll see what's going to happen is Sergio's going to go in for his stop-go penalty, rightly so. He's done well with Sergio because, you know, he's new to the league as Future Avenger and of course Hells are having a bit of a battle side by side going down the front straight. This could hopefully not end in disaster. Please don't end in disaster, boys. It's the last thing I really want as a commentator, for something like that to end in disaster. Is like JMR but we'll soon find out what's going to happen. But Steve carrying on then with around 21 minutes and 18 seconds to go. So we'll soon figure out what is going to happen thereabouts, but could be a lot of things ongoing. But Steve still leads them from JMR 3.7 of a second, with the likes of Future Avenger now third, Hells up into fourth, then Sly Pete fifth, could be fourth actually, with Sergio's drive stop and go penalty actually now cleared. Fair play to him, fair play. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But 20.5 minutes goes. JMR actually goes into pit lane. He's the first one to blink then this time round. But that's going to allow Steve to get into the race lead. That's going to eke his advantage even more. As I say, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy night of racing in race number 2 at the moment. I'm not too sure what's going to happen after this, because, you know, I feel like I need to speak to the guys and say, you know, I feel a bit ashamed at the moment, excuse me, as Future Avenger and of course Hells are having a bit of a battle. But as saying that, as Hells goes into pit lane, so that could allow Sly Pete up into, of course, as JMR still stays there. I think JMR is actually currently still in second place. Yes, he is. But JMR still in second then, with the likes of Future Revenge currently still in third, then Hells in fourth, Sly Pete in what could be now fourth place for the midnight purple coloured McLaren 720S, which is going to be very interesting to see what he can do. As I say, it is kind of thereabouts as Hells goes out of pit lane then. So the Jensen Button RJN Rocket Junior Racing Team, I think, or Rocket Junior Team, is now fifth place. Then you got Sergio 2 laps down, currently in sixth. DC Joe still in pit lane. So it's between Steve and Future Avengers to take their mandatory pit stops, with around 18, coming to 18 and a half minutes to go in this race here at Suzuka, the second race of the evening, the last sprint race of the season, before we head to 2 endurance races at Spa and of course Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. But we'll soon figure out what's going to happen. 6 drivers finished race finishing race 2 at the minute. I believe it was only 7 for race 1, just to briefly have a look. Yes, it was 7 drivers for race 1, which is a bit unfortunate for these guys at the moment, as JMR is about to cross the line. As I say, there's not many cars having a bit of battles now, because they're all equally spread out, as Hells goes off again at I can't remember the corner, just the corner before Spoon. So Hells has gone off. He's gone off again at Spoon. Whether he's got some damage or not on that 22 McLaren is yet to be seen. And then got Sergio around there. So we're halfway through the race then. Halfway through, and I'll tell you what, it has been a bit of a lowly race for everyone tonight in the second race of the evening. If you are watching the stream, guys, can you please do give it a massive thumbs up? It'll help me massively, and it probably will help me calm down a bit as well, because at the moment I feel like there's going to be a bit of a rant and a rave going on after this race, I think, but hopefully not. You know, I feel like there's a lot of things with 17 minutes to go, with Steve still leading and Jeremiah going through the hairpin. He's around, just working it out now, working it out with the gap. It's hard to tell. He's probably a lap behind. Well, not like a lap as in a lap down. He's a lap down behind on circuit. There's a Future Revenge is 16.1 of a second. And of course, Sly Pete is also near enough around about a lap down, well, a lap behind on here. But you've got Hell's spitting and flaming the exhausts. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. What does I say? Jeremiah is around a lap, just under 16 minutes to go in this race. Then second race of the evening. You know, I feel like there is a lot. But we'll soon figure out, with the likes of Jeremiah still pushing on. But it's going to be very close to see what's going to happen. But Jeremiah still leading then from, of course, Steve. Well, Steve leading from Jeremiah, followed by Future Revenge, Sly Pete. But we'll soon figure out what's going on. So, you know, Jeremiah still second, Future Revenge third at the moment, still got to take his mandatory, so is Steve, Sly Pete fourth, Hell's fifth, and Sergio currently a lap down in, of course, sixth place with around 14 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Jeremiah still has to push on, but Jeremiah may slightly lead the championship going into Spa. But you know, anything could happen in the remaining 14 minutes of racing, and I'll tell you what, it is going to be very, very close to see what's going to happen. But Steve currently still leading them with Jeremiah second. So Jeremiah still in second, then Future Revenge third. But we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But Future Revenge still there, then third, Sly Pete, and of course fourth, Hell's fifth, Sergio sixth, and I'll tell you what, 13 minutes to go. I'll tell you what, it's been a bit, I don't know, it's around about, but we'll see what's going to happen. But you've got Steve still leading them from, of course, Jeremiah. Jeremiah's still around 40 points from second, I believe. Future Revenge 26. So as I say, it's still a lowly race for these guys. You've got Hell's still trying to catch up to Sly Pete. I don't know whether that's going to be a bit of a battle as of yet, because it's around 4.1 of a second between the pair of them at the moment. You know, I don't know what I really want to say about this race, because you know, it's, as I say, 6 drivers at the moment with 12 minutes to go in this race. I hate to say this, but it is actually very poor at the moment, and I can't, you know, I can't believe what's actually happened, because Steve's still leading them. Hang on guys, just sorting something out. So Steve's still leading, with Jeremiah trying to get past Sergio. So trying to put a lap on Sergio at the moment, with Future Revenge still 3rd, Sly Pete in 4th, then Hell's still 5th. But that could be a bit of a battle unless these two gap each other, because it's going to be very close to see what happens with the likes of Future Revenge. Still got to take his mandatory. But we'll see what happens with Hell's trying to catch up to Sly Pete at the moment, with 10 minutes to go then. As I say, 10 minutes to go, anything can happen. But got the likes of Sergio 2 laps down, sadly. The likes of Hell's and Sly Pete, they're going to have a bit of a, probably a bit of a battle with 10 minutes to go, because obviously Future Revenge probably will be taking his mandatory, as well as Steve. As Steve carries on his way up towards Dunlop at the moment, with JMR still there, Future Revenge in 3rd then. But we'll soon figure out what's going to happen. But 9.5 minutes to go then in this race. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen, because the likes of JMR is miles behind now. He's not going to get a win, but a bit unfortunate. But Future Revenge in 3rd, then Sly Pete 4th, with Hell's catching him up. These two could have a bit of a battle. So it could be very interesting to see what's going to happen. So we could see what's going to happen with 8.5 minutes to go, with the likes of Hells and Sly Pete. But looks to me that Sergio's gone into pit lane. Not too sure why. Has he picked up more damage in that Lamborghini? I hope he... But we'll see what happens. As no, he's gone. Oh, that's a shame. Sergio has gone. So only 5 finishes now, and I can't believe. I actually, really, honestly, if you're watching the stream, guys, I feel like, you know, what's going on, because you know, 2 people are watching, but it's... We'll soon figure out with the likes of Steve from JMR, and of course Future Revenge still there, Slide Pete and Hells. Hells has dropped back a bit now. As I say, it's only 5 races, but but we'll soon figure out what's going to happen between these guys. So we'll soon figure out what's going to happen. Slide Pete and Hell's going to catch each other up. Hell's has actually done his mandatory Y. We're looking what's happened with Sergio. So I think Hell's actually did his mandatory, and Slide Pete did his. But it's only Future Revenge and Steve that I've got to now do their mandatories. But with around 6.5 minutes to go. But Steve's still there then with JMR, and of course second with Future Revenge third, and Slide Pete, and of course Hell's still fifth. As I say, there's not but we'll soon figure out what's going to happen, because I don't know whether Hells is going to catch up to Slide Pete within the last couple of laps. I'll tell you what, it's 5.5 minutes to go. We'll soon find out. Steve currently still leading them, 5 minutes to go. I'll tell you what, I can't really say what I was going to say, but you know, I feel like, you know, it's very, very poor indeed. But JMR's still there then. But JMR then still in, of course, second place. Future Revenge still third at the moment. 4.5 minutes to go as Hells is catching up as Steve goes into pit lane. And is that going to allow JMR to get a race lead or get a race win tonight? It's going to be hard to tell, because we've only got around 4 minutes to go. I do apologise, guys. You know, I feel like you know, got 4 minutes to go. But we'll soon find out as Steve comes out of pit lane. But JMR could be catching him. JMR could be catching him. What is he a lap down though? He's 19 point. He's not 19.0 seconds. The timing screen plays havoc with me. Future Revenge still in third with the likes of Hells and of course Slide Pete. Now Slide Pete and Hells have got past, well, Hell. But Hells has got past Slide Pete now for fourth place then. But as I say, 3 minutes to go in this race then. JMR could soon catch up to Steve, could he? It could be. It's 3 minutes to go though, it's 3 minutes to go. I'll tell you what, as I say, just a bit. But we'll see what happens if JMR can catch up to Steve with around 2.5 seconds to go. 2.5 of a gap with 2.5 minutes to go. This could be actually crucial now. But with 2.5 minutes to go, I don't think JMR is going to catch him unless he does. But we know what JMR did in the first race. He got a drive-through penalty for track limits. Can't afford to do that this time round, because it did happen at this point in the race. In race number 1, and I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him. but we'll soon figure out what's going to happen within the races at Spa and of course Silverstone. As I say, it seems a lot of things as I don't know what to really say, because I've lost. But we'll soon figure out with, of course, Steve going on to what is now going to be the final lap. As Jomar is actually now catching him up. This actually could be a close battle between the pair of them. He's at 1.6 of a second. Who knows what's going to happen, because, like I say, going on to the final lap then with Future Revenge coming through. Where is he? Going through Spoon. He's going to have to take his mandatory, otherwise the stewards will black flag him. But JMR still trying to catch up to Steve as best as he can. Is he going to do it? It's second time he's had a Porsche in front of him this evening. But we'll soon figure out what's going to happen as Future Revenge goes through Casio Triangle. Going to take his mandatory, but it may be a bit too late, because he's got 43 seconds to go, and that could hurt him. As JMR gets very close up to Steve now, going out of the hairpin. This is absolutely going to be tooth and nail. 0.909 of a second between the pair of them. Let's see what's going to happen. Steve pushing away. Is he going to get past? Of course, get past. Is JMR going to get past him? We'll soon figure out. But it's going to be very close to see. But Steve's got that gap. But it could be a move going into 130R, or it could be a move going into Casio Triangle. The checkered flag is almost out between these two. Jeremiah thinks about it, going into Casio Triangle. Steve brakes. Oh, Steve goes a bit wide, but he's cut the corner. Is that going to be allowing Jeremiah to get through? That might be looked at by the stewards, but Steve comes through to take a well-deserved victory in race number 2 with Jeremiah in second. I tell you what, fair play to these two. But Jeremiah actually takes that, because I think Steve actually slowed down to let Jeremiah actually go through and take the race lead, because he knew that he would be probably in hot water for a penalty, as Hells is now currently, is he third? I think he's third with Future Revenge. Just looking at that, and Slide Pete also. So that is going to be your top 5 then. So Hells gets onto the podium then, with the likes of Future Revenge and Slide Pete currently there. But the likes of DC Joe and trying to think who else, DC Joe and of course Sergio haven't raced at all. Well, Sergio did race, but DC Joe hasn't raced the 2 races tonight, which is really unfortunate. And I'm going to say this now, unfortunately, because depleted grid, etc., there is no driver interviews tonight. I need to wind down. I literally need to see what's going to happen, because I really can't be dealing with a depleted grid. It's been a bit. It's hard to tell what's happening, because the likes of Hells is going to come through to take third, fair play to him. Then you've got Future Revenge and of course Sly Pete 4th and 5th respectively, coming through to finish the race, and fair play to them. It seems there's a lot ongoing, but it looked like JMR might have had the victory, because Steve, so JMR did get the victory, with Steve giving him the victory, because obviously cutting the corner at the Casio Triangle. But yes, that is Thursday Night Racing League for round number 5, season 7 of the season. I'm going to see what's going to happen, because as I say, it's been very unfortunate for the guys tonight to have 5 finishes in race number 2, and of course 6 finishes. Was it 6 finishes in race number 1? Yeah, it was race number 1. 7 finishes, and then only 5 in race number 2. So until 2 weeks time at Spa-Francorchamps, guys, I've been Hoppers Thursday Night Racing League. Take it easy, have a good weekend, and I'll see you in 2 weeks time. Take care, ta-ra.